Today, there are more than 7 million working-age men in America who are not working or looking for work. Unfortunately, this is not a new phenomenon. The large number of men not in the labor force is a trend which has been growing for the past 50 years.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Henderson. I'm the president of Associated Builders and Contractors in Baltimore. So I'm here today to talk about a workforce development program we developed 11 years ago in Baltimore City called Project JumpStart. I'm joined by Mr. Tyrone Ferrens. He's a journeyman electrician, and he's one of our STAR graduates. Project JumpStart is an 89-hour pre-apprenticeship and job placement program. We have an 80% graduation rate, and we graduate approximately 120 students every year. But far more important than our graduation rate is our job placement rate. Because at the end of the day, the only true measuring stick that really matters with a workforce development program is this: are people getting jobs? In our case, our job placement rate is 75%, and that's an average over the 11 years. But in just the last couple years, that placement rate is better than 80%. I can only speak to the population we work with every day, but the problem in Baltimore City is not that you have men who don't want to work, but you have men who don't know the path to get a good job. They don't have the connections with those who are making those hiring decisions. No one ever taught them how to build a network or how to make those connections. So one of the most important things we learned is you've got to be part of a community, employer community. ABC Baltimore represents nearly 650 commercial builders in our region.
I was raised in a single-parent home. My father was an addict and a drug dealer in Brooklyn. He still is to this day. I saw him only on the weekends, maybe once a month, and yet my two older brothers and myself followed him down that path exactly. We all have felony convictions. We've all spent time in jail. We've been through rehabs. I personally spent 16 years in the grips of a crack and heroin addiction prior to coming to JumpStart. My last conviction was a felony assault, and part of my sentence was a year of inpatient rehab. It was during that time I kind of came to grips with the fact that I was never going to amount to anything, but I did leave with a single goal, and that was to see that my son didn't have to go through the same path I did. And in order to do that, I was going to need to get a job, and I was going to need to stay out of prison. I went to a career center in Baltimore, and they referred me to Project JumpStart. They were offering a $50 stipend to attend those classes, and that was enough for me to be interested in it. It was during the orientation I received a glimpse of hope for a better future, something I hadn't had. In the beginning, they explained to me that if I graduated at the top of my class, that they could pretty much guarantee me a job. I graduated at the top of my class. 2 weeks later, I was placed on a job. They were able to get me hired even though I had an 8-year gap in my resume. 4 years after that, well, actually 6 years, I completed my 8,000 hours of on-the-job training, 4 years of apprenticeship classes with ABC, and today I'm a licensed journeyman, as Mike said. The biggest impact that this program has had on my life is it goes far beyond me. My son is the first one to step foot on a college campus. My mother had retired and was struggling on Social Security. And after years of torment that I put her through as an addict, I was able to move her into my home. I became a first-time homeowner last year. My daughter, who's 30 years old, spent half of her life with a father that was an addict and a disgrace and an embarrassment. She is presently in the JumpStart class that's taking place now. She looks up to me, she admires me, and she wants to follow in my footprints. It's 3 generations of my family that's been changed from this program. I mentor now younger JumpStart clients. Throughout this entire process, I graduated 9 years ago. 9 years ago, JumpStart has been there supporting me every step of the way. I mean, my problems have evolved. In the beginning, it was court dates and probation hearings and charges, pending charges. You know, now I call the director in regards to parenting skills because I didn't have a father. I struggle in that area, you know, and she always reminds me that look at how far you've came because your problems are the same problems regular people have now. We call them regular people problems. You know, she explained to me that everyone has problems in relationships and with their spouses and with their children. So I'm grateful for that as well. It's just a genuine gift to have this program in my life.
Is it the security where